My name is Christopher Toussant. I'm the Deputy Director for the Georgia Office of Victim Services. I've been with the State Board of Pardons and Paroles since 2017, and I've spent my entire time with the agency in the Victim Services Division. I just got promoted to Deputy Director in January of this year. Well, the Georgia Office of Victim Services provides post-sentencing support and information to crime victims, their families, and members of the community. We represent three different state agencies for post-conviction notification that will include the State Board of Pardons and Paroles, the Department of Corrections, as well as the Department of Community Supervision. My specific role is to pretty much run the day-to-day operations of the office to ensure that we are making those statutorily required notifications, assisting with developing programs within our office for victims who would seek restorative justice programming opportunities, I guess is the best way to say that. Other than that, just providing general oversight and guidance to the advocates that work the caseloads day to day. Well, I think Marsy's law is a huge part of what we do day to day. For us, specifically in parole notifications, giving victims that advance notification to provide input to the board. But then other aspects, as far as the victim's right not to be harassed, we also handle those type of situations too. So if someone is harassing a victim from the state prison or even while they're on community supervision, a victim can reach out to us and we ensure that those issues are addressed with each agency. And also, in addition to addressing the issue, we make sure that the parole board is made aware of it. So it's kind of a two-part approach. We're going to make sure we stop the problem, hopefully, but at the very end of the day, we're going to make the decision makers aware about the no contact and all those issues that have been going on to ensure that when they come up for any type of clemency consideration, that information is considered as well. Oh, that's all the time. To be honest with you, like the board, I can say with certainty that they take victim input pretty seriously. But we've had situations even when people are out on supervision. I had one specific case where an individual had been released on probation, and the first stop that he made was to his victim's door, and was knocking on the door the next day, and she reached out to us by phone, and then actually showed up in the office. And for us, anytime someone shows up to the office, it's a pretty big deal because we work down here at the Twin Towers, and it's not that easy to get to us. And so the fact that she was here must be something pretty serious. But we sat down, we talked to her, the whole team. We kind of got to the conference room, and it became like a everybody's hands on deck situation. Assisting her with safety planning, talking to her about what she needs to do to protect herself in the coming days while we get this issue addressed with the Department of Community Supervision. He subsequently was arrested and, from what I understand, was revoked and sent back to prison for violating his probation conditions. Well, I've been in victim services for about 12 years now. I started off as just a part-time victim advocate at the DA's office in Clayton County. Initially, it was just a way to get my foot in the door, and hopefully work my way up through the system. But I fell in love with helping people. And so that's what's kind of kept me in these type of roles for so long and seeing the impact that we can make in people's lives. And I think now, even so much with this position, seeing some of those cases that I worked in my baby advocate days, I like to say, kind of mature their way through the system, either by way of the person being released or that individual still being in custody and still having the communication with those victims in some aspect to see the growth that they've made over the years. And so those type of things encourage you. And I'll say something like Marsy's Law is actually, it kind of gives you that little oomph you need when you're addressing issues, and it kind of makes victims' rights be taken more seriously. And so when you're making those calls, it's like, well, look, you're violating the Constitution now. This is a little bit different than you just forgetting to do something. It's a pretty big deal. I think personally, it just means to me that victims are taken seriously here in Georgia. I get the opportunity to travel throughout the country, and in my conversations with colleagues from different states, to hear the plight that victims go through in their states compared to some of the situations we deal with here is sometimes night and day. And so I think having Marsy's Law has allowed for us to kind of be taken more seriously as just victim services providers in general, but it definitely sends the message that Georgia cares about victims. I think just continuing to listen to them. I think sometimes with us in criminal justice, we tend to get jaded because we see so many things over and over and over again. And I try to make sure I approach each victim as the first time I've ever dealt with this situation. So don't let some of those previous situations cloud your judgment or cloud how you would interact with the person. Every person deserves to be heard. Even if we find out later on down the line it wasn't what we exactly thought in the beginning, my first thought is to always believe somebody and then just go from there. I think is something that's important. There's a lot of focus these days on restorative justice, and some of the conversations regarding restorative justice seem to sometimes minimize or even exclude the victim's perspective in a lot of those conversations. And so I think as we go forward, it's important to make sure that we're continuing to elevate those victim voices when we're having those conversations about restorative justice.